And it's not just the protesters getting the short end of the stick at this weekend's NATO protests. Journalists are also having a tough time doing their jobs, some apparently being targeted by Chicago police. Here's video of some of those journalists being pulled over by those police.
We're being raided right now. For those that are watching, we are being raided by the CPD as we speak.
What is this for, officers? What is this for?
I'm unbuckling my seatbelt.
They didn't give us an explanation to why they're stopping us. You're watching us live right now.
12 cars. 12 cars. We were pulled over by unmarked, ununiformed cars. The whole time.
Well, if you were following this on Twitter, as some of us were, you saw tweets like this. Tim Pool tweeted, "Calming down, still paranoid after being cuffed at gunpoint." Luke Rudkowski tweeted, "Sadly, the footage that I almost got shot for shooting last night and was deleted by CPD cannot be recovered." Joining me are independent journalists Tim Pool and Luke Rudkowski. Hey guys, I want to thank you for being on the show. And I guess I want to talk to you first. Tim, just talk to me a little bit about your experience, this tweet. You were held up at gunpoint?
I didn't know that they had pulled guns on us right away until Dustin told me, but it was shaking to, you know, I made the assumption based on the hands up, he's swearing at us. I put my hands up. I was focused on making sure that my live feed was going out, and then they pulled us out and cuffed us immediately, so it was pretty jarring. And then afterwards, Dustin told me they had drawn guns on us, and that just like sent chills down my spine.
And Luke, I know that we've talked to you several times. You're an expert these days at covering protests. Just wondering a little bit how these protests in Chicago compared to, say, you know, the time you spent when you were in New York covering the Occupy protests.
These protests were definitely a lot more violent. Police officers, the CPD, were using the overhand method with wooden batons. A lot of people were bloody. There was a lot of blood in the streets yesterday. A lot of people got hurt, sadly. We tried to do our best to document everything live. We have a lot of video. It was very interesting to see the Allied on the street once again on American soil. Troops, paramilitary all over the place. And it's very, very just very intimidating seeing all these factors come into play, especially with the involvement of the Department of Homeland Security, which had their vehicle when we were pulled over, and also interrogated my friend about me and was questioning me about me the night that we were pulled over at gunpoint.
Yeah, let me ask you about that. I read that tweet that you posted as well. One of your friends was actually stopped and asked questions about you. I mean, what were the authorities asking the officers? What did they want to know about you?
Well, just to make it clear, it was somebody that was affiliated with We Are Change Milwaukee. They stopped him, detained him illegally for 6 hours, and brought him to a Homeland Security fusion center. And they questioned him about how he knows me. They asked me by name, what I was wearing, who I was with, where I was staying. And the CPD pretty much got all that information when they pulled us over at gunpoint.
I guess, Tim, let me follow up with you. Talk to me about where you stand in terms of legal trouble. Are you still in legal trouble? What will be the consequences from here on out based on the activities over this weekend?
I don't think there's any legal trouble. We just we got detained. We got the typical interrogation. They searched through some of our stuff, banged some of our hard drives and batteries around. And then I was told afterwards by one of the supervisors that our vehicle matched the description of a vehicle they were looking for. And even though they admitted that mistake and then took the cuffs off of all of us, they continued to ask us questions and search through our belongings.
I guess I want to know a little bit more about some of the live streaming. I know that it was shut down for a time, and I think, Luke, you said that video was taken away. What was the reason given for this?
I just want to state one more thing. Our vehicle has New Mexico license plates. I don't think there's a lot of cars in Chicago that have New Mexico license plates. But yeah, we were streaming live. As soon as the officer said, "Put your hands out the window," my cell phone came out the window with my hands, and I overheard the officer saying, "Don't shoot, it's just a cell phone." I recorded them coming at us with guns. Ustream sadly could not actually recover that footage. I'm very sad about that. But I was in handcuffs. The officers were searching through the vehicle. They let me go, so I went back to my cell phone, started streaming them. The officer took the cell phone out of the hand, put me in the back again, and they turned off the footage and made sure it didn't archive, and the footage is deleted, and sadly the world didn't get to see it. But the few people who were on our Ustream and got that notification were able to watch it, but the footage was deleted and destroyed, so sadly there's no record of it.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I mean, one of the things that I thought was so fascinating, and I guess it's just a sign of the times we live in, is how many people sort of became your guys' eyes and ears. People sort of tweeting at you, letting you know where police were, what they were seeing, what was going on. Tim, what was your reaction to this? Were you surprised at all?
I've been expecting something like this, I suppose, and I'm really grateful that I have people who watch what I'm presenting. I know that there were several of our friends were detained, had their car impounded. Some other live streamers were detained and interrogated, and they didn't have the visibility and the people watching their backs like we do. So it feels great that people are paying attention, but it also brings to light the other journalists who are sort of being, I guess, detained and harassed in the same way.
Well, I mean, that's what I was going to say. I mean, it's surprising to me every time I hear about this or see this, but this isn't new, and it's not even, not something we dealt with recently with the Occupy protests, with journalists being turned away, being kept out, having their, stuff taken away. Why haven't we gotten past this, I guess, in terms of police? I mean, police were so ready with their riot gear and with their batons. Why weren't they ready to deal with journalists?
I'm surprised. I don't know, Luke, you have an answer?
I have no idea. We can only speculate, but I think George Orwell puts it very well. In a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. Now, we can only speculate, but what me and Tim do is very different than what the mainstream media does. We provide raw, unedited, live, unbiased perspective view for 12 hours, sometimes 12 hours live for people. And a lot of times, I mean, Tim recently, his video was used to clear a protester of criminal charges in court. I mean, having that camera in your hands is extremely powerful. It's pretty much equivalent to having the truth in your hands. And what me and Tim are trying to do is just trying to encourage everybody to get out there, get their cell phones out, film everything, because it's no longer an officer's word against a protester's. It's the truth, and the truth cannot be hidden.
All right, well, we appreciate you weighing in with us today. I hope you keep us posted with all that live streaming. Tim Pool and Luke Rudkowski joining us from Chicago, Illinois.